Yeah, like, but you won't get on there, like, you just walk in.
Okay.
So simple.
Jewel, I'm recording this for you since you're not here. Okay. If you look on Canvas, I just put this review sheet that I handed out to everybody. Okay. So this review sheet, if you fill this out today, as I go over it with you, and you bring this to class tomorrow, you get 5 points. So it's like starting with a 5 out of 5 on the test, basically. It's total points. Class anyways. Okay. So the test looks like this. Okay, there's matching, more matching, and more matching.
Yes.
But they look kind of different. Yeah.
So, what's on the back? Like a little lines.
Yeah, so like, it's kind of like a crossword. Okay, so I give you the, I give you the explanation and you tell me what the word is and just fill it in. Then there's one that comes down the middle. Okay. Yes, quite fun. Okay, so entertaining test. All right, now, so we're going to go through these. I'm going to give you these basic definitions. Okay, so there'll be 3 sections. So 33 words. There's 33 words on here. Okay, so if you know this, you'll ace the test. If you know half of them, you'll get 50% on the test. Okay. Now, since it's matching, you can do that thing where, like, you through the process of elimination. Yes. Okay. All right. So not super hard. All right. Equity. Another term for equity is fairness. Fairness. Like being fair. Fairness. Laws. Enforceable rules of conduct. Enforceable rules of conduct in society. Positive law. Law dictated by a sovereign or higher authority. Law dictated by a sovereign or higher authority. Got 3 lefties in here.
Yes, sir. I represent.
Oh, you're a lefty?
Lefty,
No,
lefty, lefty. Lefty. You got that? Law dictated by a sovereign or higher authority is positive law. What's that?
I was trying to say that.
King's Bench. Court appointed by King Henry II. King's Bench. Missed that on the tests. Kick yourself.
Second?
Yeah, King Henry II. Now, precedent is a very important term. Okay, using prior cases as a guide. Using prior cases as a guide for deciding similar new cases. Using prior cases as a guide for deciding similar new cases. So when the Supreme Court makes a ruling, they set a precedent. That precedent has to be followed by future courts in cases that are similar to it. Okay? Precedent. Injunction. An order that prevents something from being done. An order that prevents something from being done. So, when Biden wanted to do the mask mandate for employers that have more than 100 employees. Federal judge stepped in, and then the U.S. Supreme Court stepped in and placed an injunction on that rule. Can no longer be carried out, that rule, law, an injunction. That make sense? Jurisdiction, the power to decide a case. Power to decide a case is jurisdiction. So depending on the people involved and the subject matter of the case, court that's supposed to hear that will have jurisdiction. Tough one. Jury. Panel of citizens who help interpret society's customs. Panel of citizens who help interpret society's customs. So if our customs are laws, see that. Okay. Common law. Law that is based on current standards or customs. Law that is based on current standards or customs is common law. And code is basically a group of laws in organized form. A group of laws in organized form. It's a code, a group of laws in organized form. So we have criminal code in each state, which is the laws that are, if you violate them, it's a crime. Okay, so we have criminal code. We have civil code. Group of laws organized. Okay, so there's 10 words. That's the first section of matching. Move to the second 10. Okay, and we start with constitutional law. Constitutional law is created when constitutions are amended or adopted. Constitutional law is created when constitutions are amended or adopted. So when we adopted this Constitution, began with constitutional law. And when we change it, which is an amendment, it changes that constitutional law. Right? Amendment is a change to the Constitution. All right. Civil law deals with private legal rights of an individual. Civil law deals with private legal rights of an individual. So when we're talking about civil law, we're talking about relationships between people, suing one another, and so forth. That's civil law. Private legal rights of an individual. Unconstitutional. A law is considered unconstitutional when it conflicts with the Constitution. A law that conflicts with the Constitution. Stare decisis. It's when a lower courts, it's the doctrine of when lower courts follow established case law. When lower courts follow established case law. or precedent. Right, so when they make a decision, they establish a precedent. Stare decisis is the doctrine that requires lower courts to follow established case law. Case laws. So, let me give you an example. 1896, Plessy versus Ferguson. Okay, this said separate is equal. So this allowed for Jim Crow laws, right? This allowed for segregation of people by race. Okay, that was the precedent set by the Supreme Court. And so all other courts obeyed that until 1954, Brown versus the Topeka Board of Education overturned that case law. It overturned it. That doesn't happen very often because of the principle of stare decisis. They don't like to overturn earlier courts. It does happen, but not very often.
Like with dissenting opinion.
On the what?
Like the dissenting opinion.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, good point. So this was an 8-1 decision. The court in 1954 used this opinion to set new precedent, to create new case law. So from here on out, separating people by race is not equal. Okay. Which does away with that eventually. Okay. By the late 60s, we had pretty much desegregated. Okay. About 100 years after the Civil War. Okay. All right. That was stare decisis. Ordinances we've learned about. Laws enacted by local legislatures are called ordinances. Laws enacted by local legislatures. We keep going back to Sebastian subwoofers at the car wash. Okay. It's a local law. Yeah. 50 feet. You're not supposed to be here able to hear the music more than 50 feet, which is not very far.
Yeah. Like, get your windows down.
You could get a ticket. $90.
I think I was probably going with code or something.
Okay.
Because I don't remember it saying that.
Because I record all my lectures. If somebody's missing,
Not bad.
that's okay.
I watched a couple of them.
Good, good.
I was gone like 4 days. I think I watched like 2.
All right.
Yeah.
Not bad. 50%.
After that.
What are we on? Procedural law. Procedural law enforces legal rights and duties. Enforces legal rights and duties. Okay, just take procedure here, right? So, if you get arrested, they got to read you your what?
Right.
That's part of the procedure, right? Okay, and we'll talk about substantive here in a second, I think. You have substantive?
Substantial.
Yeah, it's up there though.
Yeah.
Did I miss it?
There's like
Yeah,
3
it's-
to
Oh,
get.
okay, Mr. Ebright, what are you doing?
I was thinking
I
about it.
thought
I thought you were reading off the test.
think you were doing.
All right, so we did ordinances. Wait, what?
So go back up to statutes.
Statutes, crimes,
Oh, well, jeez, man.
I thought it was just some weird crap you were doing.
Yeah.
All right, so we did common law, code,
Yeah.
we do
Yes.
code, statutes. Statutes, laws enacted by state and federal legislatures. Laws enacted by state and federal. So these are most of the laws we live by, are statute. Whereas At the local level, you have what? Ordinances. Okay? So laws basically are statutes by the state and federal legislatures. Good. Okay. Crime is an offense against society. An offense against society is a crime. All right, so substantive, okay, and procedural. So, to define substantive, a law defines legal rights and duties. So procedural says enforces legal rights and duties. Substantive defines legal rights and duties. Now, the procedural is the process. Substantive, guys, is like the law you're being charged with violating. Is that law justified? Is that law constitutional? You see what I'm saying? So, like, we got speeding tickets, yes? And here's one I like to use. You know, when you're driving down the road and you see a cop on the side, like in the median on the highway, and then you pass the cop and you flash your lights at oncoming motorists to let them know that there's a cop there? You ever done that? Heard of that? Seen that? Okay. Is it illegal to flash your lights at somebody? It is? Well, to tell them like they got their brights on, I'm going to flash my lights.
Oh, no,
Because you're blinding me, man.
that's not legal.
Okay, so is it illegal to warn people that there's a cop there running a speed trap? No, it's not illegal.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I thought it was.
Now,
To say a cop's there, like it's.
yeah, it's just public information.
There's a cop.
Yeah. Just a little quick flick of the lights. You can do it during the daylight hours too. I mean, now, let's say you get pulled over and they say there's a law against that. You say, okay, well, show me that law. And he says, well, I can't. It's a dangerous, it's risky driving. It's reckless driving. Really? Okay, so I'm going to challenge that in court. There's no law that says you can't flash your lights. There is a reckless driving law, but this disqualifies that. So here we're looking at the substance of the law, yes, versus the procedure. Okay, so you're arguing something different. Okay, now you're going to do that in traffic court, you lose. You appeal to the appellate court. Go to the appellate court, you lose again. They're charging me with a crime for a law that doesn't exist. So I appeal to the state Supreme Court. In the state Supreme Court, here's my case, and I win. Now I spent
More time.
thousands of dollars on legal fees to get out of $100 ticket. Okay, but sometimes you got to prove a point, right? So is the substance of the law valid? Okay, so these are these cases where people are arguing that this law is unconstitutional. Mask mandates, forcing businesses to have their employees get vaccinated, not within the power of the executive branch. Okay? That's a substantive case. Not one based on science or anything like that. It's just, does the government have the power to do this? Okay? And they don't. Now, if Congress passed a law, that would be different than President Biden saying, hey, I'm just going to do this. It's a mandate. It's not a law. It's a mandate. Well, he doesn't have the power to do that. Okay? It's not in the Constitution. He has the power to enforce law, not create his own. Yes? You guys been hearing about the Canadian truckers? Dude, this is freaking awesome. Like, this is the longest convoy in human history, like Guinness Book of World Records. It's 70 kilometers long, more than 50,000 truckers in Canada, all driving to the capital of Ottawa to protest vaccine mandates. Now, the United States just put in a rule that says if you're a trucker from Mexico or Canada, you have to be vaccinated to come into the United States. Now, truckers generally sit in a cab by themselves, yes? Now, are they stopping illegal immigrants that are sneaking across the border, stopping them if they're unvaccinated and turning them back? Yeah. They're not even testing them. They're just turning them loose. That makes sense. Law-abiding truckers. And are we having supply chain issues right now, like trying to get goods and stuff? Oh, so let's just make it worse. Yeah, it just makes all the sense in the world. Sorry. I didn't mean to get political. It's called bad public policy. I mean, it's just, oh, okay. All right, next. Have I caught up on all the ones I missed?
Yeah.
Take one.
So we're on case? Case. Oh. Okay. So it's a fill in the blank. The judicial branch of government creates blank law. Case law. Judicial branch of government creates case law. So remember when I used this term precedent. Okay. Precedent establishes establish
ESTABLISHAGD.
You're good.
establish
It's.
yes, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Establishes case law. Okay, so when the Supreme Court decides something, it decides a precedent, which becomes case law. So like when you go to law school, you got to know like these court cases and the decisions that were made, especially in your area of law. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're an estate planner, as a lawyer, you do wills and estates and trusts, you need to know the law, the case law. Okay? If you're a cop, you got to know the case law about what's a legal search of somebody and what's not. Right? You got to have probable cause to search somebody. That's in the case law. Miranda rights, 1966, Miranda versus Arizona. So if you detain somebody and you're going to arrest them, you have to read them. Your Miranda, that's case law. Okay? Good? All right. Law. Oh, it's just case law. There it is. Jeez, I hit the enter button. Case law. First time. Created this yesterday. While I was watching football, I was building a test for you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, oh yeah, you are. You know, I like Joe Burrow, but I also like Matt Stafford because you know he's with the Lions for all those years. They were terrible. You know what I mean?
In that case, it's a win.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Rams uniforms. Those are sweet. But the Bengals, you know, I like their coach. He seemed like a good guy.
You should go coach. You coach freshman football.
Oh yeah, hire me up. Wrong. Wrong.
Yeah.
The opposite of right.
Seriously?
Yes, that's on the test. The opposite of right is wrong.
Yeah. Get wrong.
Who'd you have yesterday? Like, did you have the 49ers or Rams winning?
I was pulling for the Rams.
Because of the uniforms, because of Matthew's time.
Staff.
I do not think.
And I like his wife too.
Okay.
No, like, she's an outspoken lady. Like,
Oh, like-
yeah. You know, they're from Detroit, and she's pretty outspoken against the governor. Which I'm like, I don't like this lady.
thought you
And I
were-
don't like the governor. She sucks. Anyhow. Where? Michigan. Governor Whitmer. We just call her Karen.
Oh.
Florida Kelly
Is that-
too.
Yes, her name's Karen Whitmer. We're just gonna call her Karen. You guys on that? You guys know what Karen is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't be a Karen.
Yeah.
Don't be.
Well, at least you guys know something, right? Let's go. All right, Karen. All right, what are we on now? Wrong? Impartiality. Impartiality. The concept that the same ethical standards apply to everyone. The same ethical standards apply to everyone. The law is supposed to be impartial. Okay? Rich, poor, black, white, male, female, what have you. The law should be impartial. Okay? Okay, so the Torah or Quran, okay, is religious texts other than the Bible that speak about right and wrong. Religious texts other than the Bible that speak about right and wrong. So, guys, are our laws impacted by the Bible? I think so, yeah, some of them, but not totally, right? And the best example used is like adultery, right? Obviously, all three of these texts say adultery as well. Okay? But we do not have a law against it. It's not a crime. We know it's wrong, which is the opposite of right. Okay. All right.
Motion.
Oh, thank you. Emotion. Emotion. Another term for feelings is emotion.
He's pretty deep.
Well, listen, do our feelings and emotion drive laws? Our passions? Yeah. Okay, like for instance, when there's a gun crime, right? Many people get very emotional about that. They want to see new gun laws. You follow me? So you get this emotion, okay, plays a role. Self-interest also plays a role, does it not? Now, when we talk about self-interest, it needs to be balanced with the interests of others. Our self-interest needs to be balanced with the interests of others. Now, you got to get that right because the word interest is part of the definition. Okay, so self-interest, interests. Yes? Try not to miss that. Okay. Now, what is meant by that? Okay. Self-interest needs to be balanced with the interests of others. So we have to take into consideration other people when we make decisions. Now, some of you do that more than others. Like you're very careful about what you say around other people. And then some of you don't give a crap and say whatever comes, like pops into your head. You say it, right? Right. Okay. So sometimes some self-introspection, control our emotions so that we look out for the self-interests of those around us. As a Christian, that's something we definitely do. We should do. Okay. All right. Universalizing. Universalizing. You guys learn this like in religion class or something? Okay. Universalizing evaluates the moral worth of a proposed action. Evaluates the moral worth of a proposed action by forecasting the consequences of that action. Evaluates the moral worth of a proposed action by forecasting the consequences of that action. So it's just a term used, guys, in ethics, when you talk about ethics, that before you take an action, you need to understand the consequences of it. Okay? So just like talk about like the mask mandate. Okay? Well, are you going to get pushback on that? Is that violating people's medical choices to make decisions over their own medical choices themselves, or they lose their job? These sorts of things. So before you take actions like this, you need to evaluate the moral worth of that action. Well, it'll save lives. So there's, we're going to have more people vaccinated, or those people will not be at the workplace, so they won't be spreading COVID. Oh, wait a second. You can still spread COVID if you have the vaccine, right? Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry. Anyhow. Guys, I'm vaccinated. Okay, so anything that I say negatively towards that, understand that that's coming from a person that is vaccinated, that respects the right of others choose not to. That's just me. I believe in freedom and personal choices. Okay. I don't believe in government mandates from on high over something that we don't know enough information about, like the long-term effects of these vaccines. We don't know. So, it's your choice. Yes? I might get taken off of YouTube for that. Okay, too bad. All right, sorry. Doing it again. I'm up to 75.
Oh.
Let's go, people.
I still need.
Let's go.
I have 5.
How many do I need to get money?
Like
You
10,000
have like a
for ads.
1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
1,000?
You just need to
You
start,
can-
like,
you
just
can-
keep doing this for another couple.
I checked out your first
Is it
video.
promotions and stuff?
My very first one?
I checked out a history lecture from like 2016. It's pretty.
Okay, and I was probably about
You had hair.
15 to 20 pounds heavier.
Heavier then.
Heavier.
I do remember that. I noticed that, and you had hair,
Yeah, sometimes I grow it out, but recently I haven't.
and it was brown.
Sometimes you go.
It wasn't gray.
And it was brown.
I love strange.
Just get to 1,000 subscribers and then.
You just need to email like crash
That's on post
course,
notifications.
or you need to email some
You're kidding.
history and stuff.
Yeah.
So like National History Day maybe.
Yeah.
Or a crash course. Or,
Yeah, I need to, and do graphics and stuff,
Yeah.
Do that.
instead of just boring lectures.
Yeah,
Like
you
in
do like
your
some fun
business.
you do like fun videos.
See, a lot of those don't have like a class. They don't have an audience. So that's kind of the thing, I have an audience. So that makes mine different.
It's like a live show.
Yeah.
Live studio.
What are we on? Right?
I was
Are we up right?
Right.
A type of action resulting from an ethical decision. A type of action resulting from an ethical decision is correct, right?
This is rare.
It is the opposite of wrong. Well, wrong is the opposite of right. Right is
That'd be a terrible way to define two terms.
a type of action resulting from an ethical decision.
So why didn't you make wrong? Why didn't you make wrong the whatever this was, the type of action resulting from a
I didn't get
I mean, way better definition.
It would be. Ethics.
Okay, can you
Which
get
is
off
the
of it,
opposite
Tim?
of
Stop.
typo.
Let's be nice. Ethics. Deciding what is right or wrong in an impartial manner. Deciding what is right or wrong in an impartial manner is ethics. Now, do we have a ethics, or is it philosophy?
We have philosophy.
Logic?
We have logic and philosophy.
Do we have ethics?
Logic was good.
You took it?
Yeah.
You talk a lot about ethics and stuff like
Not
that.
really. Had to argue.
I liked that.
Okay.
Oh, you
I don't think we
I
really
mean,
did.
logic
much.
is good stuff.
I think there was something in the book
right
about
one.
it, but I don't think.
Yeah.
Right is type of action resulting from an ethical decision. Ethics are deciding what is right or wrong in an impartial manner.
Our logic was correct.
Utilitarianism. Utilitarianism. Oh, crap.
What?
No, this is right. Okay,
Hopefully.
I think.
Like the test.
No, I think I screwed up. Universalizing
Everything's
and
in one
unitil.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Wait, is every definition off?
No, just this universalizing and utilitarianism. So the definition I gave you for universalizing is utilitarianism.
Oh,
Evaluating the moral worth of a proposed action is utilitarianism.
Is that Bell Rad?
I don't know.
Everyone's leaving.
Okay. Reason, authority, and profit. I'm gonna give you these, I'll put them on here. You guys go. And I'll watch the last 2 minutes of this video. Okay?
We're gonna do universalizing too,
Okay, all right.
because we don't know that.
All right, universalizing is test that asks, would the result be irrational, logical, or demeaning? If everyone did it, that's universalizing. Okay? And then reason is basis for ethical decision is reason. Basis for ethical decisions. And then authority is what people consult when deciding between right and wrong is authority. What people consult when deciding right and wrong. And profit, which is easy, is the primary motivation when business move overseas. So if you send your manufacturing over to China, the reason is because you're trying to create more profit. Test tomorrow.